What's up, Taiwan? I'm Tiffany Wong with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Election officials are counting the ballots from Keelung's mayoral recall vote. City residents voted this morning on whether George Xie should be removed from office amid accusations of incompetence and possible corruption. Joyce Tseng joins us now live from Keelung. Joyce, how's the count looking?
Hey Tiffany, we're just an hour out from polls closing and vote count starting, and right now it's just too close to call. There are mixed reports of voter turnout rates ranging from 40% all the way up to 60%, currently with more votes against the recall of Keelung Mayor George Xie than for it. But again, votes are still being counted. Now, right now we're at Xie's party, the Kuomintang or KMT's headquarters in Keelung, where they have live updates of the votes being counted on that screen right there. Several politicians from the party have also been coming out to give speeches in support of Xie, and the civic group who's tried to remove the mayor from office have argued that he's incompetent, accusing him of allegedly mishandling a shopping mall development in the city where they suspect there to be abuse of power. Now, this local city issue has boiled over into clashes between the country's two main parties, the KMT and the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP. The KMT claiming that the DPP are backing the activists against Xie to chip away at the party's standing. DPP politicians have come out to say that Xie and the KMT should be focusing on the civic group's demands rather than seeing this recall election as a political matter. Now, to recall a mayor in Taiwan is quite difficult. It's only been done once before, and that was the removal of Han Guoyu of Kaohsiung in 2020. Whether that number will change today, the results of Xie's recall vote are expected to come in about an hour. Tiffany?
Thanks for following that recall vote today, Joyce. That was Joyce Tseng live in Keelung. Former President Tsai is on her way to Europe for her first foreign trip since finishing her 2 terms in office. She's heading first to the Czech Republic, where she'll give a speech at the Forum 2000 conference in Prague. Then she goes to Brussels, where she'll be the first former Taiwanese head of state to visit the European Union's seat of power. Tsai plans to visit the European Parliament and meet with new assembly members there. As president, Tsai and the EU's legislative body worked to improve ties between Taiwan and the European bloc. The Defense Ministry on Sunday reported 11 Chinese military aircraft operating around Taiwan, but analysts are expecting even more activity from China following Taiwan's National Day celebration earlier this week. To explain more about what Beijing's goal is, our reporter Jaime Ocon spoke to Mike Hunzeker, associate professor at George Mason University.
So, Michael, given the timing, we have Taiwan celebrating its National Day, and we also have former President Tsai Ing-wen going on her first overseas trip to Europe. Do you think China is going to react with any sort of large-scale exercises like what we saw with Joint Sword A, those military drills after Lai Ching-te was inaugurated?
I mean, nobody can predict the future, but it seems very reasonable to expect that China is going to have some sort of, I don't want to say reaction because I think pretext is the right word. I think they're looking for an excuse, and this speech is obviously going to give them something. And even if Lai doesn't say something provocative, they'll find something to take umbrage at. So I do expect that we're going to see some sort of reaction, whether that rises to the level of a Joint Sword 2024 Bravo or not. Obviously, we'll soon find out.
Do you think that these exercises are planned? Do you think this is more of a reaction, or do you think China has these drills kind of already drawn up and is waiting for some sort of pretext to conduct these drills?
No, I think it's an important thing to keep in mind when we're referring to China looking for a pretext to do one of these demonstrations. It is extraordinarily unlikely that China's military can put together an operation of the scale that we saw at Joint Sword 2024 Alpha in a matter of days. I mean, we are talking about a joint operation with multiple services. The plans, at the very least, had to have been laid out weeks, months, or even longer in advance. And chances are notifications went out long before that, too, just to get the people and the equipment in place. And so no military can put something together in a couple of days. And so therefore, I do think it's China looking for an excuse to do something that it already had a plan to do.
And it seems like China is gradually upping the military pressure on Taiwan with aircraft and ships operating in the region almost on a daily basis. Would you say this is still business as usual? Taiwan can manage this, or should we be concerned?
You know my take on this, which is, the time for business as usual passed many, many years ago. I think you put it again very well, that we are looking at a just very gradual but inevitable shift in the military balance in the Taiwan Strait. That balance has been shifting in China's favor for decades at this point. And as it accrues more and more military power, the fact of the matter remains Taiwan is relatively small. It's very close. The United States is far away. And so China's options for resolving this standoff militarily just grow and grow and grow. And so, yeah, I think Taiwan, if it hasn't already, needs to take this threat very seriously. It does not mean war is inevitable, but you want to do everything possible to just convince Xi and the military leadership that the military solution is not the way to go.
That was Mike Hunzeker, Associate Professor at George Mason University. Over 200 people have marched through a busy Taipei shopping district, calling for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. A Facebook event for the demonstration says tech products from Taiwan were likely used in Israel's attacks on the militant group Hamas in Gaza. Those attacks have killed tens of thousands of civilians. A Taiwanese company also recently became entangled in Israel's offensive against the militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon. Pagers branded with the company's name were used in remote explosive attacks that killed at least 12 people. Until recently, opium poppies were an important source of income for farmers in Afghanistan. But with the Taliban back in power and poppy cultivation banned, the country and its economy are feeling the effects of opium withdrawal. Bryn Thomas reports.
Things used to be easier for Afghan farmers like Asadullah. For much of the last 20 years, during the period spanning the U.S. occupation of his country, he harvested opium from the poppies he grew in his fields. When refined into heroin and sold on the black market, it provided a tidy living. Despite taxing opium to fund their two-decade insurgency, the Taliban began enforcing a long-standing ban on its cultivation about a year after retaking power in 2021. This resulted in a 95% drop in harvests in what was once the world's largest producer of the drug. It's a drop that's hit farmers hard and at times sparked violent protests, like in May, when clashes between poppy farmers and soldiers sent to destroy their fields resulted in several deaths in the northeast province of Badakhshan.
Afghanistan خلک نو ته معلومیږي چې غوښې ډېرې کاروي غوړي ډېر کاروي نو دغه هم راکم کړي په خوا مو په دریو څلور ورځې کې غوښې خوړلې اوس مو هغه کمې کړي په میاشت کې شپه.
The UN Office on Drugs and Crime says the poppy ban resulted in losses of over $1 billion for Afghan farmers last year. And while many have switched to legal crops like cotton, these don't pull in the same kind of money. Not everyone is content to follow the rules. Some Afghans, like this imam, keep a stash of opium from their final harvest hidden away for a rainy day.
جمهوریت کې مکوله مکمل مو چاڅونه مزکه وزمر ده یعنی مکمل داسې و چې په 100% کې 80% موږ کوکنار کړل او 60% چې دی هغه موږ غنم کړل.
A fist-sized clump of resin, hidden like a wad of cash in a mattress, could cover the cost of a dowry or a wedding. Big financial burdens in a country where large families are the norm.
موږ وایو ګوندې خدای ګران سي یو ولور چې پر مهر چې پر سړي باندې یو ولور باندې نو کېدای سي چې هغه موږ په دې باندې هغه ادا کړو د دې دپاره موږ خوندي کړي نو وایي څه به خامخا په کورو کې خود سته.
But these illicit stashes of opium will eventually run dry, and the resulting hardship is already destabilizing the country. Videos on social media from May's clashes show farmers calling for an end to the Taliban government, one that their opium helped put in power. John Su and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
In Istanbul, hundreds of people are protesting violence against women. Turkey has seen more than a week of unrest after a double murder sparked concerns about safety and government accountability. Calling for change, hundreds of people in Turkey have taken to the streets of Istanbul to protest violence against women. Demonstrations have sprung up around the country for over a week since the double murder of 2 women and the suicide of a male suspect who had been under investigation. Nearly 300 women have been killed in Turkey so far this year. The mother of one such victim demanded the state take responsibility.
Devlet neredesin? Adalet neredesin? Ben yavrumun hakkını sonuna kadar sizden de soracağım. Çünkü o cani kadar devlet de suçlu. Devlet de benim çocuğumun katili. Çünkü onu dışarıda bırakan devlet.
Many of the protesters blame conservative President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Islamic-based AK party. In 2021, he removed the country from an international treaty to prevent gender-based violence. It's an issue gaining attention worldwide. According to the UN, 2022 saw the highest number of femicides around the world in 2 decades, with nearly 89,000 women and girls killed. That's despite the UN saying overall homicide figures were down. In India, millions of doctors went on strike for over a month after a female colleague was raped and killed in Kolkata. In Kenya, calls for justice after a spate of killings in January. A 2022 UN report found Africa had the most killings of women by a partner or family member than anywhere else on Earth. The report says women globally are most likely to be killed by the people closest to them. And until justice is served, the worldwide fight will continue for accountability and change, even as families grieve the loss of their loved ones. Dolphin Chen and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus. Thailand's famous Pygmy Hippo has sparked a wave of Mudang Mania, giving local businesses a significant boost. Our reporter Sandy Chi has the details.
With her pink cheeks, natural cuteness, and irresistible charm, Mudang is taking social media by storm. The Pygmy Hippo from Thailand has helped the Keelung Open Zoo generate over $500,000 in ticket sales since September, boosting local businesses in a wave known as Mudang Mania. In Bangkok, one cafe has been slammed with orders since it began creating hippo-shaped delights.
ตั้งแต่มีเค้กน้องหมูเด้งเข้ามาก็คือเราไม่ได้หลับไม่ได้นอนเลยครับก็คือมานั่งทำน้องหมูเด้งทุกวันจนถึงเช้าเลยแล้วก็สามารถสร้างรายได้เป็นหลักแสนได้เลยภายในระยะเวลา10 วันนะครับผม
And it's not just the cake's cuteness. Customers also love the taste.
ก็อร่อยดีค่ะเนื้อเค้กแบบว่านิ่มๆแล้วก็มีซอสสตรอเบอรี่อร่อยค่ะ
Meanwhile, other businesses have seized the opportunity to profit from Mudang Mania, including the booming blind box art toy market in Thailand.
เราก็เลยโอ้โหตอนนี้แบบเหมือนโดนน้องหมูเด้งสะกดจิตเราก็เลยอยากทำเบบี้ฮิปโปอ่ะเหมือนหมูเด้งอย่างเงี้ยเป็นเวอร์ชั่นของตัวเองเราก็เลยทำออกมาเรารู้สึกว่าตอนเนี้ยกระแสของกล่องสุ่มในประเทศไทยอ่ะเป็นกระแสที่ดีเราก็เลยทำมาให้คนสุ่มเลยแล้วกันเราก็ตั้งชื่อเขาเลยหมูจุ่ม
Thanks to Mudang's charm, the artist says sales of mystery boxes shot to over 1,000 within a week of the product's launch. That's a figure that typically takes an entire month to reach. Now, with Mudang's influence extending beyond the digital world to consumers overseas, she's boosting businesses from cosmetics to fashion, bringing significant benefits to her country in more ways than one. Howard Zhang and Sani Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with New Mexico's annual Hot Air Balloon Festival. I'm Tiffany Wong. Take care and see you next time.